Okay, so let's experiment with classes in Python. I'm currently using Python version 3.7.2 and I'm using Pycharm as my IDE. So let's create a new Python file and call it employee class. Now to define this as a class, we just need to type the keyword class and then the name of our class, so employee class, colon. So now we have a class. Now let's start off real simple and create a method that's called say hello, and we're going to open up parentheses, notice the keyword self, and also notice there's no public or private definition in the beginning. What we can then do is print out a string that says hello world. So I think this is just pep 8, so just the style guide saying that there's a blank line at the end of the file, so you can press Ctrl, Alt, and L to just format your file. Now let's actually run this method. Now notice that in Python indentation is very important. Now that I'm back to the beginning, I'm outside of the body of the class. I can create a new class instance by going employee class. So just like that. And now if I want to run the method or call the method, say hello, you can do that. Now, in order for us to print this, let's run this file. See the top here, we have employee class. If this is not already defined for you, just right click anywhere in the file and go run employee class. You can see that yes, indeed, it has worked. We have hello world at the bottom. So that's a good start. Good, so our class works. Let's try and make it a little bit more useful now by removing this method, changing it to format. And let's say we have an employee. So what I'm going to introduce you to is instance attributes. Very similar to properties in PHP, so properties of a class. These instance attributes can be created on the fly and can be accessed whenever you have an instance of this object employee class. So let's create one. Let's say self.employee is equal to, let's just say for now, Reval Govender. And if we wanted to, let's say, print that, we can go print self.employee. Now we can go back here, get a new instance of our class, so employee equals employee class, and let's go employee dot format. So we just format our own class here, and let's run this again by clicking the start button this time. You can see, yes, we do have Reval Govender, which is our instance attribute. So let's say we want to actually pass that to our format function. So we can have a parameter for Reval Govender. So really that employee, and instead of doing this, we can just set it to employee. Now if we run it again, we still will get Reval being printed to the console because of course we're using an instance attribute. So we can use setters and getters as well. So that's something I'm more familiar with. So if we define a new function here or method called getEmployee, and that can have self again, and what we can do is return self.employee. That will get the employee. We can then do def set employee again with self, and this time we'll say self.employee equal to name, because it'll require the name parameter. So now we can get rid of this line for now. We can get rid of the parameter here. We can even get rid of this, and we can actually do some formatting. So we can say self dot set employee to self dot employee dot lower. So that will just bring everything to lowercase. And we can do Reval Govender, and instead of format, we can do set employee. And for format, we can just return self, so something we're used to doing, just returning the object. And now if we went to employee.format and then employee.getEmployee, I don't think this will actually output anything to the terminal, no. But if we did print, delete, and go, then Control F5 to run it again, and here we go. We have Reval Govender and we have it formatted to lowercase. So that's just the very basics of classes. So I've introduced you to what class is, how to define a class, what an instance attribute is, and also what's interesting to note actually is what a class attribute is. And a class attribute is something, you could just do employee equal to, say, Reval Govender again. But this time it actually acts similar to a constant, how a constant would behave, and you do not need an object or an instance of the object to actually reference that value. You can just do employee class dot employee, and let's just print that out and Control F5 to run this again, and look, so you have access to the class attribute. There's a difference between class attributes and instance attribute. That's something that you should be aware of, and really that's a simple class in Python. Hopefully that helped you guys. Thanks.